Oi friends, Rin here. Today I'm going to give you 7 tips as a survivor in Dragon Ball The Breakers. Tip number 1, do not follow players or go the same direction as them early game. Because the idea is you're supposed to split up and find as much resources as you can for yourself and for your team. So to do this efficiently, you kind of need to split up, especially if you're looking for power keys and Dragon Balls. If you can find those early on, that's very good for your team. But you're following someone around, you're kind of limiting the resources between you and them, and it feels like you're stealing their loot. So that's not a good thing. Another thing is that you might kind of screw them over. So if a raider is nearby, I don't know if you guys played Raider before, but there's like an auto lock system for raiders. So in case a raider misses a survivor, the game will actually help the raider lock onto them anyways. So if they find one of you, they find all of you in that area. And you know how bad it can get when a raider evolves early on by destroying players. So don't follow players around. Tip number 2, do not go out of your way to 1v1 the raider early on with like a level 1 power up or even with a level 2 power up. You're not gonna beat that raider alone like that. No matter how good you are at the game, you're barely gonna do any damage to them. And the raiders don't even have to try that hard. 2 or 3 hits, they get you out of the transformation. And now you're screwed, and now you're feeding the raider, and now the raider is evolving. So that's not a really good look on your team. And I'm not talking about the people that are found by the raider and they have to transform and try to fight off the raider and escape. That's a normal occurrence. I'm talking about the people that randomly just want to square up with the raider. Don't do that. Tip number 3, do not fight raiders at the same location where survivors are knocked on the ground. If you truly want to help out your teammates and rescue these survivors that are on the ground, you need to lure the raiders far away as possible from this location. The farther, the better, and then you can try your best to fight them off and buy time for your teammates to come and rescue these players without any interference. Now let's say you don't do this and you fight the raiders at the same location. Well, if the raider catches on and see the other survivors are being revived, they might switch target and try to stop this process. And that's not really good on your team, and it becomes really annoying. In a worse situation, let's say you're fighting the raider at the same location and you lose that battle. Now, there's 2 of you guys on the ground, and the raider might decide to camp it out. And this makes it really difficult for your team to rescue both of you guys. So you truly want to help out your team, lure the raiders away from the location where survivors are knocked. Tip number 4, try to use more melee than abilities against the raiders when you guys can. Now I'm not saying abilities are bad. Abilities are great when you guys can actually land them. But you know what's better? Using your melee. Melee in this game is so good because it actually prolongs the transformation than you just spamming your abilities. Your transformation depletes really quickly when you guys are getting hit by the raider or just spamming your abilities. And you need to stay in this transformation as long as possible against the raider for your survival and for your team. So let's say your team is reviving someone or starting up the super time machine. They need time to do so. So the longer you guys can stay in the transformation, the better, because you're giving more chances to distract the raider. Now, that's the thing about the melee. Melees are great because they do decent damage and they can stun the raiders. Now, I know, raiders can actually combo break out of it, but you're still trying to prolong the transformation, and that's really good on your team. Now, if you're transforming and you're spamming your abilities and getting out of the transformation in like 10 seconds, that's not really good for your team. So you need to find a strategy to prolong that transformation as long as possible. So try to use more melee than abilities when you guys can against the raiders. Tip number 5, do not go for the Senzu Bean as your first choice. Now I understand if this is the only thing you could find, but if there are other options like the rocket launcher or the Vegeta's glove, go for those instead. Because truthfully, the Senzu Beans aren't that great. On paper it's good because let's talk about the usage. It does one of 2 things. It picks you up from the ground instantly or another survivor on the ground instantly, which is good, but in an actual match, not so much. Because some raiders, for example, likes to camp a survivor that's on the ground or be near them. The reason is because they know that other survivors will come and rescue them. So they're basically using you as a bait. So basically, 2 birds, 1 stone kind of situation. It's a win. Let's say a survivor doesn't come rescue you. Well, that's still a win for them. They eliminated you right there. So let's say you use a Senzu Bean when you're on the ground. Well, the raider will notice this and come back and murk you anyways. Why is this the case? Well, when you use a Senzu Bean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't restore your shield, nor does it give you power to transform again. You have nothing after you use a Senzu Bean, basically. So basically, you're screwed once again. Now this is the same situation if you use it for another survivor. Now why I'm saying is this because there are other options that are better. For example, so you can use a rocket launcher for a raider that's chain locking a survivor that they're beating up. You can shoot the rocket launcher, make them flinch, push them back, and help that survivor escape or help them fight more effectively. Now it's also the same case for when the raider is destroying the super time machine, and you can use a rocket launcher to stop them from destroying the super time machine. So this happens every single match. This is why this is important. You need items that you can use for sure every single match. Same thing for the Vegeta glove. It does the same thing as a rocket launcher, but it also does considerable damage to the raider, which is a good thing. So all I'm saying is just don't make the Senzu Bean your first go-to choice. Tip number 6, do not go out of your way to go to cities that you guys did not spawn in or are super far away early into the match. Now this is because you guys will most likely run into the raiders, and you guys do not want this to happen. Raiders are encouraged to kill civilians early on into the match to evolve faster. So they're likely to go to cities because cities have many buildings and many houses where there are more chances of finding civilians. Now this is not always the case because sometimes I have bad luck and I find no civilians whatsoever. But since you're going there, you're likely to encounter them and they will destroy you, especially Frieza and the Majin squad, because even early on they are super strong. And for those who do not know, if they destroy you, they evolve faster than destroying civilians. And you don't want this because this puts a strain on your team. So just avoid this. And if you do go to these cities, just loot really quickly and get out of there. And technically speaking, against Cell Larva Form, which is the first form of Cell, you could get away because Cell Larva Form is just really quick, but with a level 1 power up, you can just simply fly away. So just keep that in mind. And tip number 7, if you guys are not planning to fight the raider or have a backup plan when the raider attacks you, try your best to avoid the raider at all costs. There's nothing in that match is worth it for you guys to get destroyed by a raider. And raiders evolve really quickly when they destroy survivors, and that is not a good thing right there. Now let's say there's loot that you guys want. Well, wait until the raider leaves. It's not worth it when the raider is nearby. For example, raiders like Cell, they have key sense, and they will find survivors nearby with that ability, and you guys will get destroyed by that. So keep that in mind as well. Now the other thing is that if you're trying to rescue a teammate but the raider's camping that survivor, well, you either have one or two options. You have one, wait until the raider leaves, or let them die because the raiders won't just leave them alone. Do not try to be a hero and rescue them while the raider is camping them. Unless your other teammates are coming to help you and distract the raider, then that's a different story. But don't do anything by yourself against a raider. You guys will not win because raiders are crazy strong in this game. Now, the last thing is for power key. If a raider is near the location you need to install the power key, just wait it out. It's not worth it. Wait till the raider leaves, because for a fact that you guys will not install the power key in time before the raider destroys you. So just keep that in mind. Avoid the raider at all costs if you're not planning to fight them. And that is all I have for survivor tips. Hopefully this will help you guys out in future matches, and if they do, remember to leave a like, do subscribe if you guys haven't already, and I will see you guys all next time.